Hey crew, it's Pitt, and welcome to my I Know My Type. We're going to be doing Amber Heard today. I don't know a whole lot about her because I dropped out of the entertainment industry completely. When I dropped out of music, I quit watching movies and TV and shit too. Like, I don't watch any of it. So, what we're going to do is check her out and see what's up because of all the hype around the thing, and I'm going to ride the algorithm. We're going to type her out and see what we got. What's going on in that mind that makes you want to be that way? Let's dig in.
Interesting to me, and a huge reason that why I'm interested, or why I was interested in taking on this role, um, is that she looks like that, and she looks like the archetype. She looks like the scream queen, and she that's what makes her so well written and such a complex character. And I like that because there aren't so many strong female characters written into scripts these days, at least that I read or that I have a chance to play. They just don't really exist, and because it's that way.
That's a tribe pushback, right? The tribe doesn't do this. That's a self-focused tribe pushback.
This script kind of mocks society in a sense, and it gives you,
which is why she was attracted to it.
Exactly what you think you're gonna get, and then change it. It slaps you in the face with it in a sense. It's hard because I do get a little frustrated in living in Los Angeles. I am blonde, I am a girl, and it is almost a little frustrating because the amount of movies that have already been made, will be made, with the typical character, the typical female character that is there as a stepping stone for the male character to get the message across. They are the beautiful one, they are the girlfriends, they are those specific...
The beautiful ones, the girlfriends, that's making a list, right? She's made a list a couple of times, and it's a list of things so far. The beautiful ones in this case doesn't refer to an abstract set. It is the beautiful ones as these people who have already been cast, right? So that is a in the past situation. She's organizing things that's leading me in that direction. We're definitely going to look for more because we're still early in the interview. She's not fully settled in yet, but this is not antagonistic. So
parts, and then not hardly anything more. And since those are so popular,
not hardly anything more
in Hollywood, and those are pretty much what's out there.
Pretty much what's out there. Like that is a possibility. That is the possibility inferior right there, right? Like, let's listen to that again.
Since those are so popular in Hollywood.
Since those are so popular.
And those are pretty much what's out there.
That's pretty much what's out there. Like that, all of the possibilities are this thing.
It's very valuable to me when I get a script that is difficult, that is complex, that is real, that is anything beyond
difficult, complex, real. That is ideas. Difficult, complex, and that's ideas, and that is not specific ideas, right? You're not narrowing down the ideas. You're exploring new ideas in a challenging way, right? Okay, so that is an NE. That is gathering the new ideas, difficult and challenging.
And how I look. And that's what's so great about the script. It appears that it's all about how I look. It opens with a narration about how beautiful I look, and it's all about how I look, because I don't even speak so much.
It's all about this possibility.
During, a lot of it. And that's, I feel like it mocks you in that sense, and gives you exactly what you paid to see, and then changes it on you in the face with it, and it's very valuable to me when I get a script of a strong female character, a well-written character, a complex or an intelligent one.
Strong female character, strong female, complex. Like, these are, again, listing ideas, like grand ideas. But it's for the purpose of gathering those in, not to sort them into which one's the most valuable idea or how to implement the most valuable idea. But these are all the new ideas. Let's bring in a strong female courageous character. Like that's gathering the possibilities. It's kind of hard sometimes to get an NE example, and that is an NE example. She's gathering all of these possibilities, but she's not narrowing them down in a very specific way.
I admire Charlize Theron greatly for using her beauty to get her roles, to get her popularity, and then also taking it away from us to teach us a lesson that there's so much more out there to a character, to actors, actresses, than how they look. And she did so in Monster. She took that away from the audience and still did an amazing job. And that's how
she did this specific example of gathering all of these possibilities.
Powerful. That gives me goosebumps. It's why I'm in this business. Other actresses include like Kate Blanchett and Julia Roberts and Sharon Stone. There are few and far between.
Right, so that's another list of actual things. Like, this is people as things. And that's not to imply property for somebody to get all their panties in a twist about. That means that people are things. They are actual existing things, not possibilities. So that is an SI thing, listing the exact thing. And making lists of exact things is SI. If it was the SE would be some actresses and some actors, or like the possibility of them, like they are there, but yeah.
But very inspiring. As an actor, it's always really important, the vibe that you get from the actor. I mean, from the director. It's very
okay.
important.
That's gathering a new idea too, the vibe.
Because essentially what the final product...
Like that vibe is very much an idea. I use it all the time. But vibe is very much an idea. Like you can't specifically pinpoint down a vibe.
Turns out to be is a collaboration of your vision of the character and the director's vision of the movie and how your character is a part of it.
3 specific things to support the gathering in.
And that collaboration, if done properly, makes a great film, I believe. And instantly, I had nothing to go on.
And there's a lot of I here. I understand that this is her interview. This is about her career and her thoughts on it. But there's not a lot of we and us and collaborative efforts. This is very much a self-centered person. And that doesn't mean selfish. It can express itself that way, but that is somebody who is very focused on themselves first. Like they do what they do for themselves. She is gathering all of the possibilities for herself, the strong, the courageous female actor. That's gathering that for her. And then she gives it to you. But she's doing it so she feels good first. And then she lets you see it in the movie. Whereas some people would be like, I'm doing the movie so that people could see this. Like, she's like, I'm doing this so that I can experience it, and then you can see it.
I didn't really know much about Jonathan. He was a first-time director. I couldn't watch anything that he's done, so it was a lot about faith and that connection that I'm speaking of. And it was that moment when I walked into the room and talked about my character, and instantly connected with him, and instantly knew that the collaboration that both of us would, the opinions and the ideas that both of us were going to bring to the table would make ultimately the perfect collaboration, and it did. And I'm very...
The ideas that we would bring to the table would make a specific thing. That's great. She seems to be giving me a direct vibe. Like she's saying a lot of words, but they're not circular. Like she's not keeping pounding on the same thing. Each one of these segments, like this is like the 6th question, we're 5 minutes in. That's not like that's leaning me direct. Controller movement, we're going to look at a little bit, try to narrow that down because I haven't been looking enough for that. I was trying to figure out the ideas, whether she was gather ideas, then organize things, or she's organize things and then gather ideas. But it seems very much that she is gather ideas. And she's doing it for her. So she's gathering ideas for her. She's gathering all of that, the experiences are for her SI inferior, right? So or child, it could be child. Uh, because she's using her NE to gather all of these experiences to bolster her own experience.
Very lucky, and he's an amazing director. He's so talented, and his vision, when he spoke about what he wanted to do, was so strong, and I could do nothing but trust him.
That's very movement.
I moved to LA, and I instantly got sent back home to my hometown, Austin, Texas, to shoot this film. Within, I think this is probably the first movie I did in LA, or second movie I did in LA. And then, and I instantly had to go back home and film there. So it was nice. It was kind of ironic, but great. Loved it.
That was an experience she was not expecting to gather, huh?
It was really comfortable to be at home.
That's an SI trait too. Very really comfortable.
And
Like SIs are all about their experience, whereas SEs are more about your experience.
and I was really, essentially, for the whole duration of filming this project, not so much at home. I was in the middle of a field, which could be anywhere.
Which could be anywhere.
So it wasn't particularly comforting to be there, specifically speaking, but I did like going home again and filming for the first time in my hometown from LA. That was nice. And we did a lot of the shooting in a big field out in the middle of nowhere. And we filmed in the summer, late summer, early fall, and it was hot, and it was very familiar to me. I'm used
Let me tell you about my experience with it.
to it, but I love it, and it turned out well. What's particular to this script and this situation is that we did film in a very remote area. We filmed in I guess it's a vacant house, colonial style, huge country house. It's like this beautiful.
Vacant, colonial style, huge ideas. Like she's describing the actual thing, right? But she's gathering the ideas about it.
Home, but deserted. We're in the middle of nowhere. It takes a long, long time to reach help, and for anyone to hear you scream, so to speak. And what's generally happens on set is you spend all this time. We work for long hours filming. You spend all this time away from home, generally, with a group of strangers, your castmates, and by the time it's all said and done, you're like a family. You spend all this time together in a remote place, away from home. You definitely bond. And particular to this situation, we were really in a remote area and had no option but to bond. So it was great. It was really great. We had a really strong.
So I am picking up a good bit of movement out of her. She's flexible around the ideas. Like she's gathering these ideas, and she's flexible about how she goes about gathering them. Going out into the field and being out in the event, like that obviously bothers her that she was way out there. Like she talked about that a couple of times, and she hasn't hit any single point a couple of times yet. So it obviously bothered her to be out where there was nobody around, and she was scared that there would be no response and that she would be hurt and all of this. But she did it anyway. That's a movement type deal. She's shown other examples of movement. She's not really moving, but that's not really an indicator, as some people would have.
Underlying bond between us, especially at the end. The director, we have one scene in the opening, and it is the opening shot, I believe, and it basically, the camera is all over my body. Only for a minute on my face, too, which is interesting. And the director had to explain himself when we shot that, because it's not like I'm not going to notice. And we're shooting it, and I'm looking at the top of the camera, what's with that? And he had to explain himself, and
this experience is not what I expected.
He made a really excellent point.
And she was flexible about it.
If you're a director or you're an audience member and you watch a movie, you are the lens of the camera. Your eyes are the lens of the camera, and that's what's so powerful about film. And if you're sitting in the audience and you want to be a part of this situation, which is in the opening shot, a high school hallway, then you have to see like the characters are seeing her. And so the camera literally moves over my body, and it sends a very powerful message to the audience. They're saying,
Very powerful. It's gathering this idea. There's a very powerful message right here, right? We're about to learn what the very powerful message is.
This is what everyone in the hallway is looking at. And that's why it's so specific to certain parts of my body and not so much my face necessarily, is because it's sending a really strong message to say that that's what Mandy's going through, that people are watching that, or people are focused on that, or she's getting attention in this sense. So it takes the responsibility away from you to think for yourself as an audience member and says, like, you might look at myself walking down the hallway and see something that the characters, don't necessarily. And in this case, he looks for you as a director. He moves the camera and moves your eyes for you and says, no, actually, you're not going to think for yourself. You're going to think like everyone else is in the scene, and that makes you a part of it. It's really powerful. When I read Mandy Lane and prepared to be her, I made certain decisions as an actor to create.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start looking for confirmations. I feel like I've heard enough to go ahead and make a quick determination, right? So we're looking at gather possibilities. So she's gathering the ideas. So that's going to make her an NP. She's flexible, so that's going to make her an NFP. And she does it for herself, so that's an INFP. She is direct, so that means that she's going to be just a straight up INFP. That's going to be FINESIT. Okay, so that means that she's going to worry about what she feels about the possibilities, right? She's gathering the possibilities, and she's concerned about what she feels about it. That's FINE. The SITE is she's going to be very defensive over her experience. She's going to be very much concerned about how she's experiencing this current thing. That's where her pushback's going to be. If she doesn't feel like she gets what she needs for her experience, she's going to push back. And that can be very, very dramatic sometimes. And then TE inferior is not going to give, like, she will know what other people think, but she won't give two shits about it. She's not going to care what other people think. She cares what she thinks. Not in a TI type of way, but in a, I know what everybody thinks, but it's not really that important. It's one of those, like, with me as an SE, right? I know how things work. I know how to build things, but I always wind up fucking it up just a little bit, right? And that is my SE inferior, because I can do all of the things, like I can do all of the SE things, but I can't do them as well as an SE dominant would. It's the same with her with TE. She knows what everybody's thinking. She just doesn't care. She misses, like, not even really misses it, but just doesn't give a shit. Like, and that's it seems to be all right. So we're gonna see for confirmation going forward. We're gonna be looking for, is she gathering this for herself? And we pretty much fairly established that that's true. But I want to see the SITE. Is she pushing back on her experience? We got that a little bit with a remote location and what everyone else thinks. This whole section right here where she was talking about them looking at the body and not the face was very much a TE inferior type of thing. So I'm interested to get confirmation. I believe this is a good type, and we're just going to look and see.
An impression of a real undertone of insecurity and power at the same time, of an awkwardness and uncomfortableness with the fact that she's so beautiful, yet being
awkwardness and uncomfortableness,
so powerful with her beauty and knowing. And it's hard to find a balance between those. Those are very different things. And I, as an actor, that was what was so challenging about the role, is making decisions like that. And the physicality that you see in the scene where I have to disrobe and jump into the pond, for example, the awkwardness that you see as an audience, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to demonstrate that sense of Mandy isn't like the other two girls that are in the script. She's not begging for that attention. She's not needing it. in fact, it's kind of like she's uncomfortable with that intention, and it's intriguing.
She doesn't, and that's her, the identifying with the character, pushing back against what everyone else thinks.
She's such a powerful character, and it's such a...
And she's pushing back for the character about the experience.
Such a great script. It's written so well. At the end, it just throws you for a loop. The biggest challenge to me for this particular part, for this particular person, this character, was finding a delicate balance between two very, very different things that both needed to be represented, if that makes any sense. It's like...
Okay, so I had to gather these experiences.
He does not.
Or these ideas. I had to gather these ideas, right?
Needed to be represented.
Like they needed to be represented, so I had to gather them in so they could be represented.
If that makes any sense. It's like she does not, as an audience, I don't want to establish hatred for her, you know? I don't want to establish a sense of animosity towards this girl because she's already beautiful physically, and that will create animosity naturally, especially in the female audience. But the...
And I didn't want to create hatred. It's very much a pushback SI while gathering the idea.
The balance is created from also making her vulnerable, but then not weak. And
vulnerable and not weak, or again, ideas.
Not arrogant and too full of herself so that you hate her. But if she was too vulnerable and a victim, you wouldn't love her. So it's finding that balance while maintaining the truth of the character is definitely difficult. And what's so fun. As you'll see in this movie, that especially if you've seen it once, you've seen the ending, you watch it a second time, there aren't really so many clues that give her away, give the ending away. And I made that decision very specifically because I
wanted to give it an experience. Let's see what that experience was.
I wanted it to be consistent. And it's always a collaboration between you and the director.
Consistent, huh? No, okay.
Both of your opinions matter greatly.
That would be an idea, right?
Greatly, and the combination of the two is what ultimately makes something really good. But it was both Jonathan and I's kind of...
She slept with Jonathan.
I
say what you want, but the signs are there every single time she says that man's name. She touches her hair every single time.
Now that I think it was more a decision that I made as an actor, and I said, Jonathan, this is important.
Right.
I don't want it to be another one of those films that you watch it, and then the second time you watch it, and the second time, and you think through the whole film, oh, there's a clue, and there's a clue, and there's a clue. I didn't want it to be that way. I wanted it to be consistent. And I think it was just a decision I made as an actor and that he let me do.
She pushed back on the experience of getting clues.
And let me be as an actor.
Which is very interesting. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I feel fairly confident about it. She gives me very much an INFP. That's FINESIT. She's very much concerned about her feelings about the ideas. Then she's gathering the ideas, but she's doing that for herself. And she's very much pushing back against what she sees as a bad experience. She's very much enjoying what she sees as a good experience. But she is very much pushing back against the bad experience. And she just doesn't care what other people think. Like, she doesn't care for their thoughts. Like, you could tell the hallway scene with the camera focus really pointed that out very well. So I'm good with this. I think this is good. I hope that I brought a little bit of enlightenment, that I helped you to understand your own mind a little bit better, because that is the goal of this. The goal of this is to help us understand our own minds by exploring how celebrity minds work. I am not a doctor. I am not diagnosing anyone with anything. I have changed this system significantly, and I probably type people different than you will see them elsewhere. I am definitely okay with that, and hopefully one day y'all will be too. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Y'all, we will have a link down below very soon for the website. Y'all make sure y'all get over there and check that out. And check out the t-shirt and other merchandise, because we got to fund it somehow. YouTube's not going to allow me to be monetized, so we got to do what we got to do. Till next time, this has been pittstake. Peace.